Hey y'all, so this is a new game I played. Yeah, you saw the title. There should be a timestamp to get to the actual move, but first we will be analyzing the rest of the game. Alright, so let's get into it. I play d4, my opponent blitzes out the move knight f6. I played my bishop g5, Trumpowski. My opponent plays d5, which is a move. I'm normally very happy when I see this move, because after bishop f6, I'm fine. You can hear my computer humming in the background, but yeah, that happens sometimes. After bishop f6, I'm normally just okay, because my opponent has to recapture with one of the two pawns, and then I get decent play. If he captures with the e pawn, then I get play on the d pawn, and if he captures with the g pawn, then these pawns actually become a liability. So it's very interesting, and I was really hoping to play ef6, but he ends up playing gf6. I played the line, I play e3, my opponent plays plays e5, not knight e5, and I played the move knight f3, best move, of course. After e4, I'll just go to d2 and I'll be fine. My opponent immediately makes a mistake, though. My opponent plays bishop g4, and this immediately allows me to go h3 and g4, and now I'm just going to win the pawn in the center, and I should just be better. Yeah, I would have been better. Technically, g4 isn't the best move for some reason. Technically, I should probably play like this move, bishop e2 first, which is very interesting, because after takes, I thought, actually, maybe he doesn't even have to take. Oh, then what does he do? He plays e4, I guess. Just knight fd2. Takes, I'm just better. I don't really understand. He has to sack. Oh, I guess. Oh, bishop g7 is the move. Bishop g7, and he holds on. Yeah. Either way, I decide to win the pawn. I go g4, and my opponent blunders with e4 for some reason. Bishop g6 is the best move somehow, because after takes, I mean, I'm up a pawn. Technically, you shouldn't take there, but I'm up a pawn, and I should just be winning the game. This move after e4 actually is, for some reason, a blunder after just this. I understand. Because this is a worse position for black. This is much worse for black than white, because these pawns are a huge liability in the future. This pawn can be easily taken care of with a move like c4 in some lines, and I just should be okay in all lines. I have bishop g7, rook g1 like this, and I'm just pretty much all right. So I knew I was winning, of course. I mean, I'm up a pawn, and he has terrible structure, and I have more development. So my opponent plays the move c6, and I quickly respond with c4. I don't really care about doing anything else. I guess I probably should play like knight d2 or something, and just develop the knight and repair c4. I was thinking about doing that, but I decided against it. I thought just c4 was much more natural. Of course, bishop b4 happens, and I end up playing the move knight c3 after some thought. My opponent plays knight a6, which is not the move I thought he would play, and of course the move cd is winning the game. But what happened here, and the reason why there's even a game right now, if cd happened, which was the move I was going to play, I would simply be like much better in all endgames. I mean, I play something like this, maybe not. Maybe I go, let's go rook c1, for example, and I mean, this is over. My opponent has nothing. I'm going to win the game. And yeah, this was the position I was going for. But unfortunately, what happened in the game is I accidentally mouse slipped, and I played the move c5. And now I have to work for the win. c5 by itself is not that bad of a move. What it does keep the bishop locked away. So after a3, I will be able to play c4 again. But I didn't like this at all. I mean, queen a5 doesn't work right now because of king d2, but I mean, if it did, I would be in some big trouble. And c5, it's just not the move I wanted to play. So my opponent blew knight c7, which was his whole idea. I go a3, takes, and my opponent goes knight e6. Now, what I should have done here, I end up playing a pretty decent move. I go against my better judgment of playing c4 because I didn't think it was the correct move right then. I thought that he had like queen a5, and I didn't want to allow any checks. So I didn't play c4 immediately, and I ended up playing the move h4, which I thought was very natural. The idea is simple. I thought that his knight was coming over here and trying to get into the e4 square, and I didn't want that, so I just completely stopped him. A better move is to develop the bishop and allow this, because then he can't get in here. Actually, I'd probably go here if he went there, and then he can't get in here, and then I'm going to be hiding my king, which is the most important part, because my king wants to be on the h1 square or the h2 square. It does not want to be in the center of the board right now, and c4 doesn't really ever work. So I go h4. My opponent goes b6, which I thought was a little crazy when I first saw it. I thought b6 was a wild move, and I took pretty quickly. Because I just thought b6 didn't make any sense. I mean, what is he even accomplishing with b6? After b6, queen takes, maybe bishop d3 at the very least. Maybe not bishop d3. Maybe something like, maybe I'll go queen d1, and then I'm just all right. I really didn't understand the move b6, and so I take. My opponent ends up taking with the a pawn, which I thought was inaccurate as well, and I play a bad move. I played the move c4, which is bad, and the reason I played it is because I thought, okay, well, chess is a logical game, right? c4, because earlier when I played c4, he would be able to go queen a5 and win the game. So c4 makes a lot of sense. So I played c4, right? Then I realized that the move b5 actually made a great deal of sense. b5 here is a little tricky. The b5 idea is just that if I take with the pawn, for example, after queen a5 check, my king actually kind of gets in some murky waters. I'm not sure I want this. Technically, after b5 I can probably take on d5, and after queen a5 I have this move king e2, which would make sense. And this all happened in the game. My opponent plays b5, and as you can see, the eval bar immediately skyrockets to +3, but it's very complicated, and I end up playing the best move. I end up taking on d5, which I thought was correct, but it's not so simple. And after queen a5, which makes a lot of sense, I just play the complete most idiotic move ever. I play so stupid. I play king d1, which is just why did I do that? Why did I allow him queen a4? If I didn't allow queen a, okay, if I had played king e2, the game is over. The game is over. Takes. He has no more checks. There's no perpetual. The game is over. I win. GG. That's it. But for some reason, my dumbass, for some reason, I just immediately default to playing king d1, which is just stupid. And my opponent plays queen c3, which makes a lot of sense. If he had played queen a4 check, I actually just hide on c. What? Queen b3? And I'm not even, I'm like very slightly better. What about check? I'm okay here. Okay, I'm okay here. It's hard to do. Oh, he's just taking on d5. That's okay. That's a little ridiculous. He attacks my rook, but I mean, I don't think that's that human. I don't think that that's that human of a line. Either way, I thought that queen a4 was wrong. I was right, but for the wrong reason. Queen a4, I actually get. Actually, wait, what happens after queen a4? What's the correct move? King d2, and after check again, now king e2, and I hide. Okay, I can get behind that. My opponent plays queen c3, which is the best move, and I immediately play rook c1, which I thought made a lot of sense. Queen b3, rook c2. I thought I was hiding from checks, and I thought I was okay. Rook c2 is the best move. Low-level Stockfish says rook c2 is wrong, but rook c2 is the best move. My opponent takes on a3, which is a blunder. My opponent spends 2 minutes on this move. My opponent spends 2 minutes on a blunder. And the reason why this is a blunder is incredible. And I calculate here. I sit down and I think about all the different ways that I could probably lose this game. And at the beginning, I thought that rook a3 was a move that he could play, and I was thinking during his time, of course, the thing was during his time, but I was trying to calculate after a pawn e6, what would happen? Does he have a perpetual check after rook a1 or something along those lines? King d2, something like this. Here, I thought maybe he has queen b3, but then I realized that I have an amazing move. I have an amazing move, and yeah, we're just gonna let it speak for itself. Also, if queen b3 and I go rook c3, I thought rook d1, and I would have to sack the rook, and I didn't really like that as much. Well, actually, I wouldn't sack the rook. Yeah, I'd go up there. I can't take with the queen because it's defended. I go up there. My opponent probably has some way to defend. I don't know. I didn't like playing rook c3 in many lines. So my opponent takes on a3 after a long think, and I end up, after another long think, I end up taking the knight after a minute of thought. That's basically 3 minutes of thought on calculating pawn takes knight. But the reason is insane. The reason, what I had calculated, is that after rook a1, king d2, only move. Of course, if king e2, then I'd be losing. After rook takes, that literally main one. Queen b4, I have to go king d3 here. Now, rook c3, rook d1. If I go king e4 here, my opponent actually has this move. And I'm not out of the woods here. I didn't like this as much. Technically, I didn't really see all that. I just kind of assumed that it was bad. I shouldn't do that, but either way, I just used my intuition for that. I thought rook d1 I shouldn't allow. So after the move queen b3, I found an amazing move. And I find the move king to e4, sacrificing the rook. And that is incredible. I sacked the rook for very little. I sacked the rook for a knight and a pawn, basically. But what happens, what I had calculated, is that after queen takes rook, bishop d3, first of all, this is attacked, so the queen has to go back to b2 or a2. If it goes back to a2, I'd be taking, queen takes, and then I take on f6, threatening to checkmate. If castles, then I have at least check, and I'm getting a big attack, and I thought, okay, I can end my calculation there. And if he doesn't castle, then I'm just threatening checkmate on by queen f7. And it's scary. It's very scary. And this actually works. Queen c2 is an inaccuracy, actually. The best move is queen e6 here. And then here, and I mean, my opponent is hanging on, but they're not actually. They're just down a knight. I mean, he goes here, king h2, back, queen f4, and he's just down a knight, and I'm gonna win the game. So the only real way to actually play this position is, of course, to take on c2 and call my bluff. And I play bishop b3, which is my whole idea. Another great move, which is very nice. Queen a2. And before I do what I was going to do, first of all, my idea was to take on f7 first, but I thought queen f6 just made more sense. And if he queen trades with me, then I'd be winning this rook, and I'd just be up a bishop, so that'd be winning. So queen f6 first. My opponent goes rook f8. Very strange move. And here I have to take on a1. And I take on f7, which is a miss. Which is another miss. But it's not losing. It's still +5. Low-level engine says it's not as good. Actually, high-level engine also says it's not as good, but for a different reason. E7 is the best move here. And after like rook g8, then I play this move queen d6. My opponent gives me a check. That's one check. I can probably just play f3. If another check, I can probably just play here. And if he comes back for this check, I can probably not calculate all that because I don't want to. So actually, I can probably play here. No, I can't. Okay, I don't want to calculate all that. It's winning. Whatever. What actually happens with the queen h1? I'm interested now. King e5 first. Okay, makes lots of sense. Yeah. Oh, and king f5 makes sense as well. Ooh, not king f4, king f5. Makes sense as well. You just don't allow him to take with check. Okay. Yeah, I didn't calculate all that. I would find it in a normal game, but queen d6. My opponent, actually, queen d6 would have won the game, because after queen h8, let me just show the line. Can I show the line? After queen a8, I have a very interesting move. I have the move king e5, which is the only forced mate. And the idea is that I'm simply just going to walk my king over here, defend the pawn, and just bring the bishop like this. And it's bad. Like, let's say he doesn't do anything. I was thinking bishop e4. I thought bishop e4 made lots of sense, but actually bishop f5 is an even faster checkmate, because I'm just threatening on d7 now. That would have been a nice line. I don't play that. I play ef, which has some advantage, but rook f7, queen here, king back, and I miss the move. I'm up a pawn right now. I mean, I'm up 1 point of material, because I've lost an exchange, and I am but I have 3 pawns. I have 3 pawns and a piece for the rook. I am up material right now, but the only way for me to actually continue the attack and actually win the game is this move queen h6 here. Queen h6 after rook g7. I mean, this is pretty obviously winning. I mean, yeah, I have checkmate here. And after something like king g8, I have this check first, and he has to block with the rook. And now I can probably even just take on b5 with the queen, and I should be all right here. But I miss it, and I play the natural move. I play queen c8, which is a mistake, but it keeps my advantage. Very important. I have a plus 1.5 advantage, and I'm still in the game, but it's not the same anymore now. King g7, and I just hate what I played here. I thought I played something very smart, but I just hate what I played here. The best move is very simple. The best move is h6, sacking the pawn, because I get a massive attack. Like here, I get queen g8, and this is just very easily winning. I mean, if he plays this check, I go up, and this is just over. This check doesn't really do anything after king d6, and that would be the best way to play. I don't find h6. I find this terrible move, queen c5, and I'm back, and I'm losing. And out of a game where I just found like the most amazing sacrifice ever, I end up in a worse position, and probably I'm gonna lose the game after the move that I just missed for some reason in my low time. Because I realized that around here, I realized that I was down to 1 minute. And after queen c5, I realized that after queen h1, I have king e5 only move, and he finds this move queen h4, and I take on b5, which is another stupid move. The reason being is because I thought that after like this, I have this move, and then he doesn't have like a checkmate. But I'm just such an idiot. Yeah, my opponent takes on f2. Which is a miss, and it allows me to draw with a nice move king e4, but I miss it, and I play e4 instead. It's still technically a draw, but I miss it again. My opponent plays queen h2 check. It's a draw, and I just miss the right move. It's very obvious what the move is. I gotta play king e6. I gotta defend my pawn. I don't even know why I didn't even consider this, but king e6 defending the pawn, and I'm okay. I mean, I could be winning. There's chances for both sides. I don't know why I didn't play that. I played king d5, which is an inaccuracy. It's not losing just yet. Queen h5, and now I get to lose after the move king c4. Another natural move into a blunder. If he trades the queens, I'm not sure that it's winning for black. Maybe I have some chances, but whatever the case, I have 24 seconds versus 44. My opponent gives me a check. I start running, and he forcefully trades the queens like this after winning a pawn. I tried to survive, but he has this move. He gives me all this for some reason, but at the end of the day, I end up just hanging my bishop because I'm trying to pre-move every move. And I mean, I get him down to like 3 seconds, but he ends up checkmating me on h1 with the queen. And yeah, a little sad for what happened during this game with the very nice move king e4. Very nice idea. I'm very, very proud of that idea. Like, all things considered, I'm proud of this game. I know I lost and I did really stupid in the time pressure, but all things considered, I think this was a good game, and I am proud to show the king e4 sacrifice. But yeah, either way, let's end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found this instructive, entertaining. Hopefully all the above. Good evening and good night.